we are going to go over 7-2 ellipse and circles, or 7.2 ellipse and circle. The main point of this section is we're going to analyze the equation of ellipses and circles, and we're going to talk about parts of graph, parts that are related to graphing, but we're not actually going to do any graphing, just parts on how it's related to graphing, how it would help you having the information on how to graph. Later on, we're going to use equation to identify ellipses and circles. So the first part, analyze and graph ellipses and circle. So we're going to talk about the ellipse first. An ellipse is the locus of points in a plane such that the sum of the distance from two fixed points called foci is constant. Foci is the plural of focus. That ties into what we did in parabolas. When we were doing focus, we were finding one point. In ellipses, you're actually going to look for 2 points for focus. So that's why we're going to use foci for plural. Don't worry about the pictures here, just the information about what an ellipse is and a foci is. But what I do want you to have is the information I'm going to go over here and this picture. So in this given information, the segment that contains the foci of an ellipse and has endpoints on the ellipse is called the major axis, and the midpoint of the major axis is the center. So let me go over the center. Center is the same thing as the vertex and parabola h, k. Now the reason we use the center is because you will see below, but I'll explain that later. Moving on, the segment through the center with endpoints on the ellipse and perpendicular to the major axis is the minor axis. So let me talk about the picture here. Major axis is the line that is the longest length. So if you look at this one, the longest length is the horizontal line. So that will be the major axis. Now the minor axis is perpendicular. So in this picture, it's the one that's going up and down, as you can see. And when you compare the two lines, this line, the one that goes up and down, is shorter than the one that's going left and right. Now, the next part, the two endpoints of the major axis are called vertices. That's plural for vertex. And the endpoints of the minor axis are the co-vertices. So the reason in this section we're going to be using center for ellipse and circle is because the word vertex is already being used for the endpoints of the major axis and the minor axis. So over here, for the major axis, where they're located, the endpoints, that's the vertex. If you were to cover half of the circle, it resembles a parabola, just like what y'all seen in 7.1. But now with ellipse and circle, you're actually going to have more than one. So two vertex, meaning vertices. Two co-vertex, co-vertices. So that's why in here we're going to be using vertex. But when you're looking for h, k, we're going to be using the word center for ellipse and circles. But when it comes to parabola, if you're looking for just h, k, then you're going to be using the word vertex. Now, you make sure to have the picture in your notes and the highlighted words as your vocab. The center of the ellipse is the midpoint of both the major and minor axis. So the segments from the center to each vertex are congruent, and the segment from the center to each co-vertex are congruent. So make sure you know that. What I'm talking about, in order to find the midpoint, you actually have to follow the formula that was covered in geometry, and which will be shown again in this section. So make sure you remember how to find midpoint. So what this two sentences they was talking about is that at the center, meaning halves, so if I were to talk about the major axis, so from the center to the right vertex is the same length from the center to the left vertex. So if you know the length of one side, then you should be able to calculate the length of the other side. Same thing from the minor axis. So from the center to the co-vertex will be the same length to the top co-vertex in the center as from the center to the bottom co-vertex. if you know one side, if you know the length of it, you should be able to calculate or graph the other side. So if you know the center and the coordinate point of either co-vertex or vertex, by calculating the distance, you should be able to calculate and pinpoint the other vertex, the other co-vertex. So make sure you have all the information here. Don't worry about the one at the bottom, but make sure you have the information that was explained in this video.